All right. Is this Jeremy?
Yes.
Hi.
How you doing, Jeremy?
I'm doing well.
All right.
How you guys doing?
We're fine. We're fine.
Not bad.
That's great. I really enjoyed the show.
Thanks.
And I want to kind of say, you had made a comment about earlier about I've been on hold for so long.
It's okay.
You made
Would it have been about the modern science in the Bible?
Yeah, you had made a comment about God being not revealing.
Actually, I made a comment that none of those claims of God's revealing things revealed information that was relevant.
Right, and you were saying, why didn't God reveal whatever back in the day and whatever back in the day?
Yeah, well, we were talking about people claiming that, for example, modern scientific concepts have actually been present in the Bible for 2,000 years. And my response to that is, well, why then weren't those principles being studied and applied to daily life if they were revealed there?
Well, I would say that it goes back to the idea of Adam and Eve and the fruit of knowledge. That fruit of knowledge was pursued by man, okay, and man went with his knowledge, and God would reveal his ultimate truth, and had God, well, I just wanted to make the quick point that had God revealed his science or math or whatever to humans when they weren't able to conceive it, it might appear as magic, and it might misconvey God's message.
Well, but God being omnipotent and all-knowing and all-understanding ought to have it perfectly within his skill set to explain those things to people in such a way that it was very easy for them to comprehend and wouldn't be terrifying and magical and strange and frightening.
Or kind of like a god that's terrible and magic and frightening and strange.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, why is that a problem?
Yeah,
I mean, first of all, even if we were to go with your biblical concept, it wasn't the tree of knowledge. It was the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. It wasn't about knowledge and understanding that supposedly came from that tree within the bounds of Christianity. It was an understanding of right and wrong. So, I mean, the tree thing, I mean, doesn't even address the issue. But if the concern is that if God were to reveal something to people who weren't quite ready to understand it, well, why didn't God make them able to understand it?
Yeah.
Because that would be spoon feeding. And that wouldn't be growth. That would be like a robot, building a robot.
How's that like building a robot? By making people, if God created the entire world, let's say this morning, intact with all of the information that we currently have, how is that building robots?
And how is it any more building a robot than to do what he actually is said to have done, which is, lay out a list of do's and don'ts, and if you do the do's, you're okay, and if you do any of the don'ts, you're condemned, damned, whatever. That to me, just setting together, a world, putting people in it, and saying, "I am your God. Here are my rules. You must obey me. If you eat from this, eat the fruit of this tree, oops, you did it. Well, there you go. You're cast out. That's to me, that seems a heck of a lot more like." Trying to create robots, because you're saying, oh, well, obey me and you'll be fine, disobey me and you won't. Whereas creating the people that you create in such a way as to where you can explain things to them, have them achieve an intellectual understanding of it, have them ask questions, have them learn, maybe try to have them apply their own knowledge to new discoveries, that doesn't seem to me anything like trying to create a robot.
And somebody
quite the opposite, in fact.
And somebody in the control room wanted to point out, so telling people to wash their hands before they eat would have freaked them out? I mean, they don't have to have a complete and absolute understanding of everything, but if God came to Adam and Eve or whoever in those early days when he was supposedly revealing so much and said, hey, you know what, when I was making you guys, I also created these little monsters that live on stuff and eat on decaying food, so make sure your food's fresh and that your hands are clean before you eat, and this will kind of keep you more healthy. I mean, how much understanding do you have to grasp that?
Well, the idea of bacteria is kind of ludicrous, only because had God told an archaic human, about bacteria, it would become mysticism because you can't see it, because the understanding of very
Well, you
small
can't see
than
God, you
think.
can't see heaven, you can't see hell, and yet these are all beliefs that were promulgated and expected to be adhered to. There's lots of things that religion
But
asks
they're
you to do.
governing beliefs.
No. I cannot.
The idea of
How's that
bacteria
in it?
wouldn't be governing.
Well, how is it not? I mean,
If you look at the
what
idea
does...
of boils and pestilence, he in fact did bring up the idea of bacteria. You know, with the idea of boils, you'll be stricken with boils. He didn't say they were made of little tiny organisms, but he said don't do this, otherwise you'll be stricken with boils.
Well, then why is it okay to insist that people believe in the unseen and the unknowable and the unprovable if they're governing beliefs, as opposed to if they're it not being okay if they're not governing beliefs? I don't get the distinction there, or that that has any bearing on anything.
The
Either
misconception you guys are coming from is that God came down and wrote the Bible with his own mighty hand.
No, actually, we don't believe in a God at all.
You're saying that. With your argument, you're saying that. I'm saying that each little individual thing were revealed to man, and man wrote it down. So man didn't have the concept of bacteria back then. Man didn't have the concept.
And if God is revealing things to people, which is what you believe, why wouldn't he reveal things that were useful and true?
And he has revealed that. We got electricity. Do you think that...
Whoa. What did God reveal
about electricity?
It's God gave man his mind, and...
So therefore everything we learn and discover God gets credit for because he gave us a brain. Is that not the weakest argument ever?
It's...
Hey, here's the thing. If we use that reasoning, then it's God's fault. It's God's fault that we didn't live up to his expectations. So he's unjust to blame us.
There's another element there, and it comes in the curse and fall of man.
Yes.
With the seeking of knowledge.
So seeking knowledge is bad.
Well, no,
even though a
bad.
minute ago you said...
It's not bad. It'll reach to the same ends, but it's a different means. We could have, in the hypothetical garden, we could have chose not to eat of the fruit and just been in a euphoria with God. Or we could have eaten the fruit and been given the knowledge of good and evil and had to go in the highways and byways of that. Either way, you would reach the same end.
Well, if we reach the same end, then what's the point?
Yeah, and why did God go to all that trouble to make those ridiculous rules and then condemn Adam and Eve for eating of that fruit and then cast them out of his garden?
What you just said was we'd reach the same end. You're saying that the course of history would reach the same end, whether people ate the fruit or not. So you're saying that original sin is irrelevant.
Yeah.